Hey everybody, welcome back to Hot Rod's Recipes. Today I'm going to show you how to make my recipe for Bourbon Caramel Bacon Jam. I love to use this jam on my burgers, but you can also use it on hot dogs or even grilled cheese, which is actually really good. Let me show you how easy it is to make. Okay, so I have a saucepan here. You can basically use whatever kind of pot you want, as long as all the ingredients obviously fit in it. So as it's warming up here, I am going to add a pound of bacon, and I chop mine up. You don't have to. It doesn't really matter, because we are going to, once everything is cooked, we are going to use an immersion blender or put it in a food processor to smooth it out. So I like to just use my kitchen shears. So let's cook this down. You want to stir often so nothing sticks and burns. Okay, so the bacon is coming along nicely. Most of the fat is rendered down. I'm just going to go for a few more minutes here, just to make sure that everything's cooked. And then once that's done, I'm going to use a slotted spoon to scoop the bacon out onto a paper plate so I can cook the sweet onion in the bacon grease. Okay, so now I'm going to use a slotted spoon to remove the bacon. It's still going to continue to cook a bit since there's still grease on the bacon. But like I said, you want to preserve some of the bacon fat. All right, there we go. So I'm going to set the bacon aside for a little bit. And now I'm going to add sweet onion. There we go, that should be enough. So the goal here with the onion is to sweat them down in the bacon grease until they soften. Really, that's what we're looking for, is to soften up the onions before we add the rest of our ingredients. With the hot bacon fat, this shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes to soften up. And keep in mind, after this is done, we're going to let it simmer covered for a good 15 minutes and then cook it uncovered for another 30. So everything's going to have a chance to heat up and cook, I should say. Scrape some of those bits off the bottom. That's yummy bacon right there. All right, so I like where this is at. So now let's put the bacon back in. Oh, got some stragglers here. Let's add garlic powder, cinnamon, nutmeg, cayenne, some Dijon mustard. Let's mix everything. Okay, that looks good for now. So now the magic ingredients is the bourbon caramel syrup, which is a product from a company called Torani. Not affiliated, not sponsored, but they make a huge line of coffee syrups. So that's what I'm using. Balsamic vinegar, and of course a little salt. Grab my spoon, a little bit easier to scrape the sides. You can smell the caramel on the bacon, it's awesome. So now with At this point, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let this simmer for a good 15 minutes. Let's cover it. And let's check it in 15 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes, so I'm gonna take the lid off here. Apologies for all the steam. Let's give this a little bit of a mix. It has thickened up a little bit. So now what I'm gonna do is let it go for, oh, maybe about 30 minutes. And then we'll process it into a jam-like consistency. All right, so it's been a good 30 plus minutes. Let's check in. This is looking good. You're going to try to cook it at this point until most of the liquid has evaporated or cooked down. So this still has a little bit to go, but I'll come back and check it in 7 to 10 minutes. Okay, so I like where this is at. And so for this step, you have two options basically. Pour this into a food processor or use an immersion blender. I prefer immersion blenders, so I'm gonna hit this with the immersion blender until I get the consistency that I'm looking for. And try not to make a mess while I'm at it. This is the part that I don't like about immersion blenders is sometimes the bacon gets stuck in here. So I'm gonna have to hit it again. Okay, let's scrape off one more time because I know there's some yummy bacon in there. So at this point, I'm going to let it cool down a bit. If you're going to eat it immediately, that's fine. But I would recommend letting it cool down before you put them in jars if that's what you plan on doing. So let's give this one last mix just to make sure that there's no big chunks. There we go. Bacon jam. So now in a bit I'm going to fry up my burgers and top it with this delicious bacon jam. All right, I got my burger ready and I'm going to put some of this fabulous jam right on top of the patty. There we go, that should be enough. Now I'm going to put the top on. Let's give it a little cut. Now look at that. Doesn't it look awesome? Thanks for watching. And there you have it, another great recipe. Before you go, I picked out another video of mine that I think you'll like right up here. And I'm going to let YouTube pick a video that it thinks you will like right over here. Thanks again for watching.